looking at function notation. So I am going to plug in -1 in for the x. Since it's h of x is the function, h of x, that's in the spot of the x. So it plugs in for the x. So -1 for x. I go down and find my y value for this graph, and it's -3. Then I go f of -3. F of -3 means go to f of x and plug in -3 for the x. So I plug in the -3 for the x, and that's exponents before I do multiplication, so it's -3 squared, which is 9. 9 times 3 is 27, so it's 2 minus 27 is -25. Find x when g of x is equal to -15. So that's my y value is -15. So I'm trying to find the x. So I take the y value. G of x kind of represents our y, doesn't it? Plug in -15. -15 equals the -6x plus 9. And then I just solve that equation. Subtract 9 from both sides, divide by -6, and that's how I get x equals -4. H of x, I have to use h of x, so I'm using this graph again. When is the y -3? So I'm looking at the y being -3. The y is this section right here, going across, down -3, -1, and -4.5. Both work. F of -1. Now I have new functions for it. So my -1 gets plugged in for the x. I like to use negatives a lot. -1 squared is +1. 1 times 2 is 2, plus 3 is 5. H of 1. So I use h of x. When x is 1, what's the y value? -3. Find x when g of x is 16. So my y value is 16. So I plug it in for the g of x, and I get 16 equals the -3x plus 7. Subtract 7 from both sides, divide by -3, and I get a -3. I'm finding the x when the y is 2. So the y is 2. What x would give me y equals 2? And that would be x equals 3. And there we go.